folks. I'm excited to finally show off my Harpy deck. This deck has a lot of things going for it and is definitely a solidly mid-tier Edison deck. So yeah, this is Harpy GBs, so let's get into it. First off, 3 Harpy Queen, and I guess if people don't know what this does, it's one of those where you can discard it to search a field spell from the archetype, and then it's 1900 attack, and it counts as Harpy Lady when it's on the field or in graveyard, so kind of a lot of effects actually. And then the Harpy Lady, the actual one we run, is Harpy Lady number 2. 3 copies of that as well. And what it does, it just negates flip effects straight up. So it negates Raikou, basically, is what it does in the format. And the fact that the deck has that is why it's even potentially a contender at winning a game. 1 Flying Kamakari number 1. This is not an amazing card, but part of the deck's how it functions is you want to summon Harpies. They get an effect off of that. So you can go into Harpy Lady number 2 basically off of Flying Kamakari. It's not that amazing. That's why we run 1. But it also lets you go into Bestiari if you need to. So yeah, onto the Gladiator Beasts. We run 1 Laquari. Obviously this lets you go into Heraklinos and is necessary for that reason. But also like Proving Ground for Laquari, normal Laquari, turn 1. Suggests to your opponent that you're playing Gladiator Beasts, you know? And they're gonna assume you have more than 1, probably. 1 Darius, just to do Darius plays. 1 Bestiari, obviously. And then 3 Gladiator Beast Akest. This is kind of part of the concept of the deck, which is that, yeah, some of the Gladiator Beasts are winged beasts, so you can use them with Icarus attack. So, obviously, Akest, and then Bestiari, but also Gazaris is a wing beast, so they try to bottomless your Gazaris or whatever. You're popping 2, and then you also Icarus. Their whole board is gone at that point. Yeah, onto other stuff. So we run 1 Plague. We run a trap that requires discarding, so there's synergy with that, but also you can just normal the Plague, I guess, and make a 6-star. We run 1 Gale. It's a wing beast, obviously, but also just an incredibly solid normal summon. I was able to even just stall with a Gale against a red MD, and like it didn't out it, but it made me not die, at least. On to these spells. 1 Heavy Storm. Yes, we run a field spell, but this is... you basically win when you resolve it successfully. 1 MST, of course. And then 2 Harpy's Hunting Ground. Another one that I will show the effect of. All winged beasts gain 200 attack and defense. And then if a Harpy Lady is summoned at all, the person who controls it pops a back row, basically. Mandatory effect. So, yeah, anytime you summon a Harpy Lady, you get to pop a back row. So, in theory, that's kind of, you know, the concept of the deck. It could be decent. Not awful, at least. And then, yeah, we've got 3 Proving Ground. Obviously, you can search whatever. Search Akest, search Laquari, search Bestiari to make Gazarises. I don't need to explain why that card's good. On to the traps. Mirror Force, Solemn, Call of the Haunted. I got the DT Dust Shoot now, so I officially am running no commons. 1 Starlight Road. Throughout the tournament, I opened Chariot and a Gladiator Beast almost every game, actually, and I got heavied every single time. It was comical, honestly. Like, I'm not even actually complaining. It was actually humorous, basically. So I'm considering running multiple copies of Starlight Road, actually, because it's like, what are you going to do when they heavy you? Well, there actually is counterplay to that in the format that also stops a ton of other decent cards as well. So yeah, I'm actually considering 2 Starlight Road in the deck, but I might just have been unlucky. 2 Bottomless, 2 Deprison because it sits on the board and gets popped, basically. 2 Gladiator Beast War Chariot. So anytime I run 3 of this card, I don't see it, but if I run 2, I was opening it all day. So in theory, that's good if you don't get heavied literally every single game. Yeah, so 2 Hysteric Party, another one that I will show the effect of. Activated by discarding a Harpy, and then you special as many Harpy Ladies as possible from your grave. So in theory, that can be decent, right? Like you already have a Harpy engraved, maybe you discard a Harpy for the cost of this, and then you're specialing back 2 Harpies, and it's not a minus. Like in theory, that's decent. And then you have the field spell, you get to pop a back row as well. Like that is the concept of the deck. the deck ran out of gas hard though. I'm not sure if I should run one or two of this, but I think that ultimately I should leave two of these in and not add a second Starlight Road. That would be kind of just a salty update based on one tournament. So yeah, 3 Compulse because it's arguably the best trap card in the format. At least you can chain it when you get heavied. And then 3 Icarus Attack. Another reason why the deck is even remotely potentially functional, because this card is ridiculously good. You have a cast or whatever on board, and then they think they're going to do something, and instead, Icarus Attack and Gladiator Beasts. It's even more unexpected, obviously, than something like Black Wings, which makes it even better. So yeah, that's the main deck. Onto the side, 1 DD Crow, largely because I actually would prefer to see Iron Wall, basically. Yeah, we run the 1 Crow. It's obviously a Wing Beast also, which is not bad. 2 Cyber Dragon. My locals is infested with Machinas, as I always talk about, but also just a decent card, a body to put on board or whatever. I put the 3rd Hunting Ground in the side kind of as like the Dust Tornado type thing. If I was playing against a deck that actually ran a lot of back row, I could side it in. I didn't, but I don't know that logic is bad. 1 Soul Release, really good if you resolve it. And then Brain and Mind Control in the side. We have a very skilled Gladiator Beast player at our local, essentially. So anytime I play Gladiator Beasts, I make sure that I'm at least siding Brain Control. And then Mind Control, I figured if I took a Raikou or something, it's not bad in this deck. I was actually considering like a Hamster Raikou Ryza build instead. So yeah, the Mind Control and Brain Control. Plus I just do run Plague and Gale. So yeah, ideally you take your opponent's resources and use them against them. 1 My Body as a shield for whatever. 2 Trap Stun for whatever. Pulling the Rug for, Caius, Stratos, Diva. And then 2 Imperial Iron Wall. One of the best side cards if you can run it, obviously. And this deck doesn't really get hurt by it at all, other than it conflicting with, I guess, your own D-prisons and stuff. So yeah, that is the side deck. Onto the extra. Mildly interesting. 2 Gazaris, maybe you'll make 1 Herc, you're probably not making more than 1 of him. 2 Chimera Tech. I have found myself in countless situations where I do want both. 1 Armory Arm. So obviously you can kind of make this with Plague and something you take from your opponent. There was one time when I was considering, at the tournament, making this and just putting it on a Goyo to swing. Catastor as the 5-star, Brio and Goyo. You can make 6 stars as kind of your most likely synchros, so it's great that some of the best synchros are those. Ancient Fairy, I was, kind of debating the extra deck. You do run a field spell, I guess, so you can maybe make use of that effect. Black Rose, Armor Master, whenever I run Gale, I make sure to put that in. 1 Stardust with the 1 Starlight Road. 1 Colossal Fighter for potential OTK / just solid body. And then 1 XX Saber Gothams. Obviously, or not obviously, but this is for Machina Fortress as well. I can Mind Control or Brain Control their Fortress and make this with Plague. And then I have a 3100 body on the board and they don't have their Fortress. So that is the Harpie Gladiator Beast deck. I will have the a link to the dueling book version in the description if anyone wants to look at it / try it out or whatever. Yeah, I got top 8 at my 7-person local with the deck. Woo. But it was not bad. Like, this was very much a concept that was there. I just got heavied nearly every single time. So, yeah, this was a pretty fun deck, and I'm not, embarrassed of it for once. This wasn't complete jank. So, yeah, thank you for watching, and peace.